Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining. This webinar is part of the World Bank's Data-Driven and Digital Agricultural Webinar Series. Believe it or not, the team until now has organized 70 webinars in this series. In this series, we invite innovators, thought leaders, and the World Bank's task team leaders who are transforming agriculture and food systems using data-driven agricultural technologies. This webinar is also available on our What's Cooking digital agricultural website, and participants might find the link at the bottom of the announcement. Please, grateful if you can keep your microphones on mute to prevent any background noise, and we will have a Q&A session at the end of the presentations. So please keep your questions for the end or type the questions in the chat box so they can be addressed by the speakers once they finish their presentations. Speakers are also requested to answer clarification questions directly in the chat after they finish their presentations. And feel free to reach out to Shireen in the personal chat if you have any concerns or technical issues. I'm going to start by introducing myself. My name is Julia Navarro, and I'm an agriculture economist at the World Bank working in the East Africa region in the food and agricultural practice. And I would like to open the floor by introducing our dear colleague, Parmesh Shah. He is the global lead for data-driven digital agriculture here at the World Bank. And he provides leadership to the bank's work in this area and also supports the development of global knowledge and learning in these areas to offer solutions to our clients and to other development partners. His current areas of interest are making markets and public services work for the poor, social entrepreneurship, digital and database innovations in agriculture and rural development, climate smart agriculture, agriculture and technology-based enable startups, venture and patient capital for innovation, promotion of on-farm, off-farm and digital jobs, and public and private partnerships for rural poverty reduction. He is currently involved in developing a global program on scaling up data-driven digital agriculture involving data platforms and establishing ecosystems for innovation, entrepreneurship, and incubation. He holds a Doctor of Philosophy in Development Studies from the Institute of Development Studies at the University of Sussex, also an MBA from the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, and a bachelor's technical degree in agriculture engineering from Patnagarh in India. So Parmesh, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Julia, and a very warm welcome to all of you for this series. The series became very active during the COVID time, where everyone was busy learning, and we have almost like 6,000 people now on this network, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you at this event today. Today's topic is very important for us. About 4 or 5 years back, we started interacting with the startup ecosystem globally, and we found that there were so many innovators all across all the regions who were developing new ideas and innovations, but they didn't have a platform to really take their innovations to scale. And at that time, we did a study in Africa and looked at how many scalable innovations were there. And even 2019, we found that there were 576. The number actually has grown to almost 1,400 at this stage. These are scalable innovations which have done a proof of concept and have the potential to reach a higher scale. And so our investment now in Africa is to find platforms, invest in platforms and ecosystems to enable these innovators to go to scale. And one of the ways we do it is by organizing innovation challenges jointly with government, other stakeholders, and also making sure that we are really providing a platform for innovators to come in and present their innovations, but in relation to specific challenges which African agriculture is facing. Clearly, if you look at Africa right now, the productivity growth in most commodities annually grows in single digits. We haven't seen double-digit growth in most commodities on productivity side because the solutions which are being tried are, point solutions, and they require a little bit more of a disruption in terms of thinking to get double-digit growth. And a lot of innovators you will hear today, I think, have enabled productivity growth of even 20%, 30% annually, which I think is very interesting that when we interacted with these innovations, we found that they could really work with the same inputs and the same farmers and achieve higher productivity increases. The same thing was with markets in terms of accessing markets and getting best prices for their produce. We found the same thing that if there was a use of digital technologies and data, you would get very different results there. And agricultural challenges on climate are very well known. We're going through a massive crisis of all kinds of climatic changes, but also a lot of issues related with fertilizer, which we see right now that soil fertility goes down in event of a crisis like fertilizer availability through Ukraine crisis and all. So there are many people who are disrupting that thinking and coming with ideas which allow you to really achieve non-linear and more disruptive kind of outcomes there. So there is a whole field of an African startup investment, I think, is growing quite significantly. But compared to the problem, we are at a very nascent stage and early stage. The number is not good enough in relation to the problems which Africa has. So basically, we have now many platforms working in all over the world where startups are able to present their solutions, governments are able to understand their solutions, they are able to change policies to provide platforms to them. Private sector, agribusinesses, and other people like banks and all are also able to join the platform. And then at least you are able to scale up things in a fast way. And I think my colleague Vinay will talk a little bit more about what's happening in Kenya on the Million Farmer platform. And I think it's no longer a Million Farmer platform. It's already become a 4 million farmer platform. And so I can see a lot of people who were there in Nairobi listening to that innovation summit. Natalie and everyone, I think our partners from Plug and Play are all here at this stage. And I think our aspiration is that every country in Africa should have a large platform. And we are now aiming for a 10 million farmer platform in Africa at this stage. And today's discussion will give us a flavor of why we are so optimistic about that platform. So I think without further ado, I really was in Nairobi and I listened to many of these presenters, and I was so excited after coming there. And we thought that those people who are not able to go to Nairobi should also get a full flavor of what really happened and what kinds of innovative solutions are people bringing in. This summit, which we did, was unique because it was not only people from Kenya, there were people from all countries in Africa. So, all the innovators who were there were from many parts of Africa. But we also had our partners from Korea, India, and Israel, and many other countries who were there, who were also discussing their innovations there. Because it is important for us to really disseminate this much more widely and create a very active global network of innovators there. So this platform is growing, and I think please engage with this with the innovators today and the platform so that we benefit from you. A lot of you are big supporters of this platform. We also ran an open learning campus flagship course, certified course on data and digital agriculture some time back. And there were 245 participants from Kenya and almost 430 people from Africa. And I see a lot of them who attended our course in this audience today, and special warm welcome to the alumni network of the OLC course as well today. Thank you. Julia, over to you.
Thank you, Parmesh. And just to echo the great participation, there was the summit. We're seeing the chat, people connecting from all over the world. So welcome and thank you for joining. So next, we have our next discussant, Vinay Kumar Vutukuru. He's a senior economist at the World Bank, also working in the East Africa region. Before joining the Africa region, Vinay worked on projects related to rural livelihoods and agricultural development in South Asia. And before joining the bank, he worked in the areas of demand-side governance and rural safety nets with the Aga Khan Rural Support Program. He finished his graduate degree in public administration and international development at the Harvard Kennedy School, and he's an alumnus of the Indian Institute of Management at Ahmedabad. I just met Vinay for the first time in DC, and it's a pleasure to see you again, Vinay. The floor is all yours.
Thank you, Julia, and thank you, Parmesh, for those excellent remarks. At the outset, I really want to kind of convey the sense of excitement the Kenya and Uganda Act teams had to kind of hold this innovation summit, first of its kind, because it had participation from Agtech innovators across the world, 25 countries actually, and we had 155 Agtech startups who wanted to be part of the summit. So I think it was truly exciting for the Kenya and Uganda agriculture teams to host this summit with the support of the Global Digital Act team led by Parmesh. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank the Korea World Bank Partnership Facility and the Korea Green Road Trust Fund. And of course, Natalia is here, the Plug and Play Tech Center. These are very, very important partners, and the Intellecap team who all kind of helped us in making this summit a reality. I think, as Parmesh said, here in Kenya, we are truly excited to work with these Agtech startups. 21 finalists were identified from these 155 Agtech agencies which applied. So each one of these 21 startups now will get an opportunity to be part of the 1 million farmer platform. And as Parmesh rightly says, it's no more the 1 million farmer platform, it's the 4 million farmer platform. That's where we want to go in the next 3 to 4 years. And just for everybody's kind of benefit, what do we mean by this 4 million farmer platform? Essentially, what we are trying to do is we have ongoing projects both in Kenya and Uganda. Of course, Uganda has its own platform. And these bank projects have analog investments happening on the ground, right? Mobilization, technical assistance, training, equipment. What we are enabling is these Agtech agencies who come through these innovation challenges are being facilitated to work with the government, which is implementing the bank projects. And it's a win-win partnership, because for these Agtech agencies, it brings down their farmer acquisition costs. And for the government, it's a great way to solve the last mile service delivery problem. So here in Kenya, as we speak, we have 27 Agtech startups who are part of this platform already. And there are 36 county governments who are working with these startups. We have nearly 500,000 farmers who are accessing some kind of digital services thanks to these partnerships. And as Parmesh rightly says, the aspiration over the next 3-4 years is to scale up this to about 4 million farmers. I think what was very, very interesting is that a lot of these Agtech startups who participated in the Innovation Summit were able to really kind of cater and customize solutions to problems facing Kenyan agriculture sector today, right? Climate change, how do you build climate resilience, how do you achieve food security, how do you ensure profitability for farmers, access to financial services, access to markets. So a lot of innovations around challenges which are very, very real, which are contemporary, and which the farmers in Eastern Africa face. So I think at the World Bank, we truly believe that the AgTech services, the digital services, data and digital services have the potential to transform the agriculture sector, to help countries in Africa leapfrog and build climate resilience and enhance the productivity. So I think over the last 3-4 years, based on our learning, the commitment from the government of Kenya is so high that every World Bank operation now that we prepare, data and digital interventions are integral part of these operations. So I think that in itself speaks a lot about the kind of potential these interventions have and how the government views these partnerships. So I just want to conclude by saying that from the Kenya Uganda Act teams, we really want to extend a warm welcome to the 21 finalists, especially the 5 winners who are here. We're truly excited to work with you, and we truly believe that you bring a lot of value to the table, and I'm sure our government counterparts really appreciate these partnerships. And I think from the bank side, we are truly committed to this agenda of leveraging digital technologies for the agriculture transformation of countries in Eastern Africa. Thank you, and back to you, Julia.
Thank you very much, Vinay, for your words and also sharing with participants what the experience of the recent summit was. So while I introduce our first presenter, maybe we can get the presentation going. It's a pleasure to introduce William Lujinda. He is the CEO of Africa-Korea, one of the fastest growing agtech in Africa, making agriculture easy and profitable for farmers and agro retailers by providing better access to genuine agro inputs, extension, markets, and financial services, all at the comfort of their farms and shop. To this day, NC Ag has improved the lives of over 300,000 farmers and 300 agro retailers across Uganda, while creating more than 12,000 jobs. William is a computer engineer and young entrepreneur who believes in customer value and job creation, especially for the fellow youth. This spirit is what motivated him to start NC Agric, an Agtech and Nascent Technologies Limited, and an ICT consultancy firm. So with any further ado, William, please take us through your presentation. Over to you.
Sure. Thanks, Julia. Hope everyone can hear me perfectly.
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, Julia. Thanks, Vinay. Thanks, Pamesh, for the wonderful remarks. So my name is called William Lind. I'm co-founder and CEO of Easy Agric. We are currently based in Uganda, and we started the business in 2015 with my fellow 3 other computer and software engineers. So we started a business before we graduated from school because agriculture meant a lot to us since agriculture educated us up to the university. So we felt like we should really advocate our rest of our career to make sure that we create a change in the society. So we are obsessed, of course, with the problem of disrupting Africa's multi-billion-dollar industry of agriculture by us making sure that we deliver the right agro inputs, right extension, and also the right financial services and right produce market to the doorsteps of the farmers and agribusinesses across Africa. So to give you context of what you're trying to do is that we know that Africa is currently producing 3 times below what it's supposed to produce. And the biggest contributor for this gap is yield. So when you try to think about Africa's agriculture, that means that it has potential to be 3 times more than where we are now, if at all we improve the yield And all of us know that the yield comes from the farmers. And we know that also Africa's agriculture is mainly dominated by smallholder farmers. So what does that mean? So as a business, we're obsessed with this kind of problem. So it forced us to go down to the smallholder farmers and realize that they have four major challenges. They want to make sure that they access good agronomical practices. They want to make sure that they access genuine agricultural inputs, and they want to make sure that they access profitable markets, and they want to make sure that they access affordable finance to make sure that they're able to scale their production, to repeat again and again production every season, season in and out. On the other side, we know that there are smallholder farmers, so we are forced to make sure that for us, how do we get economies of scale? We're forced to look at which kind of enterprise or the commercial partners surrounding them. And that's why we landed on the agrovet, or whom we call the merchant. So realize that these are small agro retail shops. When you move through across Africa, those are small shops which sell agriculture inputs. By agriculture inputs, we mean seeds, fertilizer, agrochemicals, tools, and equipment to these smallholder farmers. So what we discovered that these people are very so much critical in the supply chain, and we need to make sure that we integrate them. So as the company, Easy Agric, we mainly concentrated on these people, because we believe that when we serve them better, then they are serving the farmers also, to make sure that the last mile of distribution of inputs and the rest of agriculture services is fulfilled. So we created a solution called Easy Agric. Easy Agric is a mobile app currently accessed through more Android, accessed by the farmers who can afford smartphones, and mainly also by agrovets. So what do we do in Easy Agric? So at the beginning of the season, the users or the customers, either the agrovets or the farmers, are able to make sure that they're able to plan for their production. So they use Isagric to map their gardens. We have integrated with Google Satellite, all those kinds of technologies. So they map their gardens to know the actual size of the garden which they want to do. They are able to select which value chain that they want to do on that particular garden. Let it be maize, seed, let it be maize, let it be coffee, let it be any other kind of value chain. What happened that Isagric, the app will give them the projected kind of cost of production to be like, hey, you're going to grow maize. Most probably your cost of production will be this, and most probably your anticipated yield will be like this. So when the production starts, or when the season kicks in, that's where the integration of inputs come in. So these agrovets or the farmers are able to order agro inputs from seed, agrochemicals, animal feeds, all those kind of things from over 60 input manufacturers whom have integrated in the region. By the region, I mean East Africa, so that when they make these particular orders, they're assured of the genuinity of the input, and also Easy Agric is able to guarantee that it's going to deliver these particular inputs at their doorsteps, of their farms, or at their shops. Now, when they get these inputs, we understand that agriculture is a science. It's not just like any FMCG industry. It's very critical for the farmers and the agrovets to understand how to use these particular products. So we have partnered with these same suppliers and different research organizations to make sure that we get these good agronomical practices and it's delivered to these kind of customers to do the smartphone. So you talk about how many seeds per hole, what's the spacing between the holes, all those kinds of things, weather forecasts, talk about farm records, all those kinds of records. So we are being able to integrate them to just make sure that we ease the process of making sure that they use the right input in the right way at the right time in the right place to make sure that they maximize their production. Then at the end of the season, what we have done is that since these records are automatically kept on the Easy Agric, when a farmer or an agrovet order for these inputs, all these transaction records are posted in their expense ledgers. So what happens is that we have started using those kinds of records, transaction records, they have mapped gardens, all those kinds of big sets of data to make sure that we provide credit to them. We have started with the agrovets to just make sure that we provide the credit services so that at least they can scale their business. And lastly is access to market, which we are still piloting with different kind of off-takers. A quick question from you may be, how do you make money? So when we begin, we have different business models. So when we start with the access to inputs, or what we call agri-shop module on our app, we make money through of course, the margins or the commissions which we get from the different manufacturers whom we are partnered with, the 60 of them currently from the region. So that's how we make money. Then when we go to the second business model, this one we give it out for free. Farm Manager is our model which distributes all the agronomical content or extension. So we believe that extension is a right for the farmer. It's dangerous to give the farmer the input without the extension. So what we did is that all this extension content and advisory. We give it out for free for our particular users. Let it be the agrovists, let it be the farmers. So they access it for free. When you come to our financial business model, access to finance, we're providing currently credit. So we partnered with a fintech service provider where we are doing a revenue share with them so that they provide the loan book. And then for us, what we provide is that we provide the stock of the credit to our customers. So the customers request for the credit, then for us to get the cash from the fintech service provider, and then later provide the product to the customer. And that way, it's a kind of a form of buy now, pay later kind of product, which we're currently running with the agrovets. The last business model is access to markets, which we call in produce market. Here we have created what we are piloting with 15 off-takers is a SaaS platform where it's a subscription kind of purely business model where we give them a platform to help them to trace, to profile their farmers, to make sure that they train them to use our platform. Also, they make sure that they do digital bulking of the produce from different bulking centers. And also they're able to pay their farmers either using mobile money or banks or cash to just make sure they have a full visibility of their outgrowers or kind of farmers whom they work with. When you look at Africa, you're looking at a market of over these numbers are really minimal. That means that they're at least numbers because no one has exact numbers. So you're looking at a market of over 50,000 agrovets, at least that's the minimum number, and 6 billion kind of inputs imported in the continent, especially the sub-Saharan region or the green kind of area, which you see on the African map in my presentation. These numbers are minus the inputs which are manufactured within the continent and traded within the continent. So you can think about this is a huge market share. And for us as Agric, we feel like even if when you get 20% of this market share, we should have created enough impact for the customers across the sub-Saharan region. When you talk about competition, from the competition perspective, we are mainly our biggest differentiator from our counterparts who are already in the ecosystem is that we are farmer-centric. By the fact that we grew up in farming homes, so we understood that a farmer is not all about giving them the inputs, it's not only about giving them the access to markets, but the key thing is to make sure that we join the 4 pillars which make up agriculture in a digital way to just make sure that they're all integrated and they're able, the farmers and the ecosystem is able to access them at the same time. So our biggest differentiator is an end-to-end or what we call a farmer-centric approach. So far, since 2015, we have grown the business, and the key things that we started experiencing very critical traction in 2019. Since 2019, we have been growing 2x annually, and right now we have $5 million a kind of a GMV business only in inputs. Inputs is our biggest business model at the moment, and we have reached out over 300,000 farmers, and the latest number of agrovets whom we have supported in Uganda currently where we are operating is 350. We have not only been able to grow these commercial numbers, but also we have been able to extend impact to the rest of the ecosystem. And you're talking about over 12,500 jobs for young men and young women, which have been able to create through different activities of a business, especially when you're using digitization in the ecosystem. Right now, we are operating in Uganda, but we have a focus for us to make sure that we start scaling across Africa, and we are going to start with Kenya and Tanzania in the next 2 years. And that's why that's why we are attracted onto the 1 million farmer initiative, to make sure that it gives us a benchmark, or it gives us a foundation for us to be able to scale in Kenya and also the rest of African continent. So we are very Pan-African company. We are focused on Pan-African, though we started in Uganda, and we have started our journey for scaling. Currently, our team, we are 30 members team based in Uganda, but the unique thing about it is that we are very passionate about agriculture, grew up in agriculture, and also we are complemented by an advisory team full of experts, people who have tried out agtech and have failed in Africa, people who have tried technology businesses and have thrived, and people who have come from different kind of commercial backgrounds, to make sure that we combine this strong and experienced, passionate team to make sure that we make agriculture or digitization of agriculture reality on the continent. So right now we are being on our fundraising drive. We are raising $1.5 million both in debt, in equity, and in grants. And so far we have 250,000 already committed. And what we are trying to see is that we want to make sure that these kinds of funds help us to reach a scale of $20 million annually in form of GMV, and also creating impact of over 55,000 young men, jobs for 55,000 young men and young women across the continent. We are very looking forward for us to even for partnerships, business partnerships across the continent, which can help us to reach those numbers. It may not be cash alone, but we understand that what makes a good business thrive is also incorporated in like other kinds of capital in form of social and also human capital to make sure that we make this easier Greek the next big thing across Africa. So thank you very much. Those are our contacts. And if at all, feel free to reach out to us if at all you are willing to be part of Endless Farming Possibility family. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, William, for the presentation. I was about to tell you that time was up, but you covered the presentation in perfect time.
Sure.
So thank you, William, and please don't forget to include your questions in the chat box so we can address them during the Q&A session. So for the next presentation, we have Dr. Amarpreet Sai. He's a research scientist in global project management at Sherpa Space Incorporated in South Korea. He manages global projects in smart farming technology, where he has successfully led numerous national and international projects with a focus on sustainable and efficient agricultural practices. Prior to joining Sherpa Space, he served as the head of the Department of Chemical Engineering at Mewar University in India. He then joined U1 University in South Korea as a postdoctoral research associate before his appointment at Sherpa Space in 2020. His research interests include precision agriculture and crop optimization. Please welcome Dr. Aura. We're ready for your presentation.
Yeah, thank you so much for this wonderful introduction. And I thank all the participants and all the colleagues who are attending this webinar. So I'm Dr. Arora. So I'm working as a research scientist in Sherpa Space. Our vision is to optimize crop production through digital transformation of agriculture. And by achieving that, we want to achieve carbon neutrality. So this is our brief company story. So we started in the year 2016 as a startup company, and over the years we have been able to achieve a lot of successes. One noticeable achievement is winning the CES Innovation Award for our lighting technology, and we have also been the recipient of Excellent IP Award, as well as regarded as the top 1,000 innovative Korean companies. Our key products and technology, we are provided solution for crop optimization cultivation in smart farming. We are dealing with producing lighting products. We are also over controlling all the plant growth systems by optimizing the entire environmental control system, whether it's nutrient, whether it's temperature, humidity. We are also working with aeroponics and hydroponic solutions. So integrated solutions we are providing for the farmers. So from the African context point of view, my presentation will include what solutions we have kind of tried in that context and what solution we can provide for the African market. So most of the major challenges with the African context is the crop damages which is happening, the shortage of resources. Also, there is irrigation problems, and there is food insecurity and shortages. So how can we tackle those things? So what we propose 3 major solutions for smart farming in Africa. The first and foremost solution is reducing the irrigation water consumption and fertilizer usage. So we target providing that solution, developing the algorithms so that we can provide that much amount of irrigation water which is required for the plants and prevent the excessive overuse of water or fertilizer. Second solution we provide is pest prediction algorithms. By this, we detect pest before it occurs on the field in a way then prevents damage from the pest, and hence we are able to save on the pesticide usage. All this is integrated through a app system which can be easily used by the farmer on their mobile phones, and then they can observe the environmental conditions and all the on-site farm conditions, and then they can take actions accordingly based on the prediction algorithms. This is the overview of the IoT, Sherpa Space IoT solution. So one of the open field farmings we did the project, we installed the sensors such as wind speed, wind direction, temperature, humidity, soil moisture sensors. All those sensor data was collected and stored in our cloud-based server. And based on that continuous data gathered at an interval of every minute, we kind of developed predictive models for irrigation and pest prediction. So those models were then, that prediction model was then displayed to the farmers using the app. So this is that app service. As you can see on the left side, there is a dashboard. Farmer can see all the information about his farm, what's the weather, what's the humidity, temperatures, what would be the soil moisture. And then accordingly, also the services related to irrigation can be controlled. He can control the irrigation pump through the app as well, or he can get the alert when he needs to get the irrigation water. Also, the risk is predicted, and the alert warnings related to any pest or disease occurrence can be obtained on the farm mobile phone. In addition to providing those risks, we also provide solution as to what needs to be done in terms of actionable intelligence that needs to be provided. So if it's a new disease or a new pest which has occurred and farmer doesn't know about this, then our expert services can provide solution. Okay, what steps he can take to prevent that disease. So based on the Open Field Malaysia project, we have been able to save irrigation water and fertilizer usage. The farmer was able to have a cost saving of around $4,000 over 10-acre farm, and there was also significant reduction in labor through automation. So this is the entire system. We not just provide this system for continuous data collection and services, but we have a remote center wherein expert opinion can always be referred to, and then there are centers which can help them in the after services as well. This is our business model. So we have an upfront cost, or a farmer can also reduce the burden by subscribing to the monthly subscription model as well. So what makes us different from the other companies out there providing AI or big data solutions? The main advantage with us is we have extensive experience of doing different kinds of farming projects, whether it's open field projects or indoor projects or greenhousing projects. So we have a big data base wherein we have been collecting plant growth data, minute details related to all those temperature, humidity information, and we have been storing it and using it for predicting models as well. So we have even publications and patents related to those technology. The another differentiation which I would significantly like to point out is that the existing AI-based models or services are based on image analysis and diagnosis. So those are like a kind of an expensive systems wherein you need drones and those kind of image analysis algorithms. Those might not be applicable to the African contents. We focus on providing time series sensor based data analysis. The major differentiation between that is the existing image based analysis is a diagnostic model. So it can only detect the disease after it has occurred. But our solution is a prediction based model which can detect disease occurrence and chances of high occurrence before that particular disease or pest has occurred. So hence we can save the crop damage and we can provide solutions in advance. So this is the example. So if we provide image analysis data or image analysis technology, then in case of say Malaysian case, there is pineapple mealybug, which is very harmful pest for that disease, that pineapple. If we go for image detection, then by the time it is detected that leaves are of red color, it's already 8 months past since the infestation. So hence that doesn't apply for that kind of technology. So we developed time series based models for and provided solution for the Malaysian project. So these are all overall technological benefits, and we have been serving clients abroad as well, overseas. And our main goal is to become a global leader in data-driven agriculture. This is our team comprising of various members of across both genders, as well as from abroad, as well as from Korea as well. So we are fully capable of handling any kind of international projects as well. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and we look forward to doing business with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Aura. That's actually perfect timing, as you can look it up.
Thank you.
Let me pause the apologies for that. Thank you for keeping a good time. Just a gentle reminder for the presenters to stick to 8 minutes for your presentation, so we have enough time at the end for the Q&A session. Thank you, Dr. Aura. So now we move to our next presenter, Princess Anita Asabere from Farmline Group in Ghana. Anita has over 10 years of experience in leadership roles for mostly tech-based organizations within the telecommunication, fintech, and agtech ecosystem. Anita is currently the Senior Business and Partnership Manager for Farmline, with the key responsibility of driving strategic partnerships and investment with financial institutions, international development partners, and potential investors for the business. Without further ado, Dr. Anita, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Julia, for the introduction. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar. We appreciate your time. My name is Princess Anita. I'm based in Ghana, the Senior Business Development and Partnership Manager for Farmline. I'll do a quick introduction of what we do in Farmline. So Farmline was started in 2013 by two young Ghanaians who grew up in farming communities. They saw the struggle their parents and the community had to go through. There were multiple challenges they saw their parents go through, but key among them that they wanted to solve was communication, access to high quality input, and how to make money from the backbreaking activities that they had to go through. And through this, Farmline was formed in 2013 with a very basic mission of creating lasting profits for farmers. We recently secured our pre-series A funding in 2022, $14 million from FMO, ARAF, and Oiko Credit. Our technology platform is what we've leveraged on to license 1.7 million plus farmers in 48 countries. And then we are supported by 130 plus corporate and development partners. There are a number of problems that farmers go through. Ideally, 33 million farms in Africa contribute to 70% of food supply in the world, but yes, smallholder farmers are known to be the poorest. Key among these challenges that Farmline seek to solve, firstly, is high interest rates and lack of tailored financial services. Secondly, is difficulty in accessing high quality and affordable agro inputs. And lastly, is how to provide market access to these smallholder farmers. To solve these problems, Farmline came up with a technology solution called the Mesh Data Platform, which is a cloud-based mobile and web software that is enabled for organizations to digitally collect and link data from farmers to their farms and farming communities. Mesh Data has the capability to be used on site and off site as well. It is available on a web portal and also on mobile application, iOS and then Android as well. Out of this, there are key solutions that we develop. Number one is the assets and agro input financing. With this, we help farmers to get access to high quality fertilizer and seeds. We give them the inputs in bulk, and then they have a flexibility of paying over a period of time based on what we have agreed on. Input financing was started by Farmerline in 2018, and from 2018 to date, we financed 70 million worth of input. For assets, we got the demand from our partners that we work with in 2022, and we financed 200,000 worth of assets, and we're looking to scale up 100% in 2023. For farmer education, our 399 services, we do this in partnership with the telecommunication industries. We send messages to farmers in the local dialect that they can understand. Voice messages like financial inclusion, weather advisory services, and the likes to train them on the needs of how to produce more food and how to be well educated in what they do. We don't just do digital communication to these farmers. We bring an in-person training to them. So we had a field team that goes onto the field to have an in-person training for these farmers. Our financial inclusion messages, we believe we are not a bank. We do this in partnership with the financial institutions for them to set up tailor-made financial services for the farmers to be also bankable. These financial institutions will provide to these farmers a savings and investments culture for them to save towards the purchase of inputs and also assets, and also other financial needs as they may arise in their lives. Farmer digitization and support, we do this by leveraging on the same mesh data platform to collect farmer data, and also made it customizable for government, development partners, and the likes to use the same platform. Lastly, we provide market access. We go through giving them access to high quality inputs, educating them, connecting them to the financial institutions. At the end of the harvesting period, whatever value chain that we are dealing with, we buy from the farmers. We trade some of the value chain locally, and in some cases we export to Vietnam, India, and the likes. This is a typical flow of how we work with farmers in Ghana. So a farmer-based organization or cooperative or agro business can walk up to an input dealer shop that is partnered with Farmerline to request for input for the farmers in their group. Upon request, the input dealer is trained on how to take the very basic information of the farmers in the FBOs. The input dealer then profiles them. Our call center team would follow up with a call to complete the KYC of these farmers. As I mentioned earlier, we do an in-person training with the farmers, with locals of the community. Farmerline has staff with each community that we work in Ghana. We just believe that farmers work better when you build an in-person relationship with them before we follow up with the digital services by sending voice messages to them in the local language that they can understand. We don't just leave them, we follow through to make sure that the education that we have given them is being applied in the right way. And lastly, as I mentioned, we buy the crops from them, we sell on their behalf, and then we pay them upfront. This is an impact results that was done by 60 deliverables. Out of all the farmers that we have trained, there's been 56% crop productive. 57% of them have adapted to the training and education that we have given them. We have supported 51% of the farmers in our database being women, and 43 net promoter score. This is way above industry standard, but we are not relaxed. We are looking at creating more impact. That is what we are keen to do. Farmerline has operations in Ghana. We recently just scaled up to Ivory Coast, which will be launching this month in March. And we have our digital advisory services licensed in Togo and Benin, and open up for scalability in other regions in Africa as the demand may be. These are the two faces behind Farmerline. Aloysius Atta, who is the co-founder and CEO of Farmerline, with 15 years experience in product design, business development, and farming, with his co-founder Emmanuel Owusu-Adai, who is also the COO with 12 years experience in IT, programming experience, etc. The Farmerline is supported by 100 plus staff with experience in management, technology, sales, and agricultural background. We are funded by FMO, ERAF, Oikocredit, and all the other partners that are listed here. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and we look forward to partnering with you. This is my email and my contact if you can reach out if you want to work with Farmerline. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. Also, great time management. Thank you for sticking to the time, and thank you for a fascinating presentation. Up next, we have our next presenter, Pius Chije. I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly. Please correct me if I'm wrong. He's the Chief Executive Officer at Agtech Technologies in Kenya. He also has a wealth of software development, banking, finance, and technology experience with more than 20 plus years, including various roles in the IT and operation division at Co-op Bank, with IS manager in Ethiopia, and also as the head of IT innovation at Amtech Africa Limited. He holds a master's of computer applications, a bachelor of science of computer science degree, and different certifications in blockchain software development and other details that you can find in the bio. For the interest of time, I'm going to keep it short, and I'm going to pass the microphone to you, Siju. Please, over to you.
Thank you, Julia. Yeah, my name is Pius Sige, and thank you, World Bank. Thank you, Peril. Thank you, Finay. Thank you, Parmesh, for handholding us on this. So just want to take you through using alternative data to give credit to rural farmers. And basically, Amtech has been there from 2007, doing a lot of automations, and specifically making sure that we have reliable data to support agricultural lending. And also, majorly, the other big issue is lack of collateral data to secure financing. And also the banks are afraid of high transactional costs for providing the financial services to rural farmers. So Amtech, what we are doing is basically to make sure that we use the farm data as an alternative to give credit to rural farmers. So basically our problem statement basically is less than 1% of commercial lending goes to agriculture in Kenya. 2/3 of rural farmers not have financial access, and 30% of smallholder farmers, their productivity are lower. So the basic thing that is happening is that there is a position of agricultural loan being too risky due to drought, pest, low prices, and other risk farmers are exposed to. Low last mile margins, that is discourage banks from taking risks to learn the market and repayment rates, and lack of data on farmer financial history to access creditworthiness, and availability of collateral by the smallholder farmers. So what have we done as Amtech to mitigate this, to make sure that we improve access to credit and also use other financial instruments to make sure that we broaden access to credit by the smallholder farmers. So, the solution that we did is that we developed innovative, scalable, and block-based software solution that meet financial institution and cooperative business integration need to help them deliver value to their members. So what we do is that we specialize on specific value chains like chicken, like mango, like green crumbs, dairy, coffee, and tea. And also we go ahead and use farm level data. We go to the villages and we capture data like the acreages you have, what you have in that is in the farm. Do you have like commercial crops? Do you have subsistence farming? Do you have trees? Do you have other assets that can be able to be used as a collateral? And also we make sure that we provide solutions which improve faster turnaround time for loan disbursement and high loan recovery cost. So so that is the solution that we do. So some of the solutions that we have is, one is called automated credit scoring. It is an online machine learning cloud-based platform that enables farmers to get their credit score enhanced knowing their borrowing limits. Allow farmers to apply for and receive loan on a 24-hour basis through a mobile phone, and also allow farmers to deposit savings and withdraw cash at any time of the day. Some of our that is competitors basically are banks, but since the bank does not have the FLMD, and as I said, farm level management data basically is we capture the KYC, that is from the farmer, we capture domestic animals you have in the farm, we capture crops that you have in the farm, we capture children and education level, we capture your land ownership, we capture other assets like trees, like if you have a car, we capture forecast questions, we capture farm practice questions, communication and advisories, so that we make sure that we know actually the 360 view of the farmer. Other products that we do is the Easy Sacco, which is a Sacco core banking solution, and it is used basically to store the historical information, because for us to get a very good score, we need to make sure that we have credit that is historical information, we must have farm data, and we must have the produce data. EasyMa, EasyCar, EasyT, and EasyProt, and CubeSwitch. Those are other products which we are using it to get the produce data so that it enables us to credit score all those farmers. Whereas the CubeSwitch is an API management software which links all the primary cooperatives, all the SACCOs into one management system, and it transacts up to 3 million transactions every day. Our business model is basic. First things is that you must belong to a microfinance or a SACCO or a primary cooperative. You must be that is onboarded to our ACS, automated credit scoring, and you must be able to be done KYC so that you can be able to use the M-Pesa channel for you to get the funding directly. And on our revenue streams, basically we have up to 9 revenue streams. We get from annual maintenance for the automated solutions. We get a lot of money from automated credit scoring, consultants fees. We have in software installations. We have also from partners. We have for online support, hardware, and bulk SMS. This is our scale up. Currently, we have reached 329,000 farmers onboarded. We are targeting 1 million on our FLMD by the end of 2024. We have reached 217, that is SACCOs and primary organizations, which they are using our solutions. We are targeting 700 SACCOs stock POs using the Easy Sacco, EasyProt by the end of this year. Currently, we are in 24 counties in Kenya. Our growth strategy is to make sure that we do all the counties in Kenya except Nairobi. And also we now scale up to 2 new countries, that is Rwanda and Tanzania. Already we have trained 707 staff on the POs and SACCOs. We want to train more than 2,000, that is by end of 2024. So on investment is that we have dispersed up to 60 million USD. That is in the last 4 years. 44% are women. We have already onboarded 22 local investors, which give us funding to own land to these farmers. The total investment given is USD 750, and you can be able to see the growth on specifically on the ACS performance in the last 4 years. From 2019 to now, it has already doubled in terms of income to the company. And this is our financial projections. That is for the next 5 years. And our revenues can be seen there. You can be able to see the earnings before income and taxes, and then the loans value that is in the next, that is up to 2021. That's our team. We have a team of 32 staff within Kenya. We have other staffs in Ethiopia, and I myself is the CEO and the founder. We have Clelson, who is a relationship manager and partnership and investment. Vincent is for finance and accounting, and Bernard is a senior operations manager. And it's a dedicated team. It has enabled us to grow the company that is from an income on ACS of less than $11,000 to $30. So on the learnings and the way forward is looking forward is development of a national digital agricultural strategy that articulates plans for each technology, each product, value chain, and for monitoring and evaluation. Also develop a digital community practice, peer-to-peer knowledge sharing, identify technical support and advice needs, and also making sure that continuously monitoring and progress evaluation and also lesson learns are monitored. Thank you very much. Back to you, Julia.
Thank you, Pius. Wow, the presenters are really keeping on the time. Huh? Congratulations and thank you. Thank you for your presentation. And now for the fifth and final presentation, we move to our next guest, Shiram Baratam. He's the founder, chief mentor at Kusa Biashara from Kenya. And Shri is a leading serial and social entrepreneur dedicated to creating opportunities for the young women, men, and small business owners from low-income communities to help them improve their skills, build connections, and advance their business through entrepreneurship. Under his leadership, Kusa is revolutionizing the resilience of smallholder farmers from Africa and South Asia by mentoring young people in rural areas as agripreneurs, equipping them with digital resources and assisting them in offering a range of services. To date, Kusa has empowered over 6.2 million people and created more than 150,000 new jobs, impacting 10 of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So please take us to your presentation, Shri. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Julia. Can you confirm you're able to hear my voice and see my screen? Thank you. So thank you so much, Julia and the team from the World Bank for giving us this opportunity. Kusa is a private sector social enterprise and a certified benefits corporation where we are creating opportunities for youth, women, and small business owners to learn, connect, and grow through entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is at the core of anything and everything we do. Kusa in Swahili means grow, Biashara means business. My name is Shri. I'm the co-founder of Kusa, a serial and a social entrepreneur. And the challenge that we actually see in the industry is while there are a lot of technologies, as you all heard today, what is important is we thought we need to focus on the farmer. A mama farmer here, an average Kenyan farmer is 63-year-old. And an average Kenyan is 19-year-old. KYC, nobody knows her. Now there's a massive intergeneration crisis going on. The public sector agriculture extension service is challenged. While FAO recommends that for every 400 farmers, you need to have one extension worker, in reality, it is 1 to 5,000. And this mama farmer getting the access to quality inputs and climate smart agriculture, all of this is a pipe dream because we don't really have the last mile connect. And if you also look at most of the donor grants and the programs are tied to projects, they start and end on a calendar. Majority of the private sector efforts are siloed and commodity specific. And like Pius shared, the smallholder credit is extremely collateral based and is challenged. And the lack of data-driven decision making is missing. And most importantly, the next future generations, youth are not interested in agriculture. So when we looked at this, we said, the best way to come out with a solution is by listening to our customers. So across Africa and also South Asia, for the last decade plus, we've been listening to our customers and learning from them and came out with this simple philosophy that our purpose is to create universal learning opportunities for all on demand and in context. That is, this farmer group, they are interested in growing tomatoes and they are challenged with it. They need a solution then and there, and not in the next season. So for this, what we have done is we've actually built a massive library of over 10,000 plus micro short video content in 10 different languages. And that's a library we've invested with our own resources because we believed in it. And that's something that's made available. And then when we looked at it, yes, having content is fantastic, but how do you ensure that the farmer gets it? So when we look at these African conditions, you see these extreme conditions all over. Now, we saw these extreme conditions and challenged ourselves that this is a fertile soil for extreme innovation. And that's where we came out with these portable digital kits that are designed to work without internet in the remote parts of Africa, designed for Africa, for African conditions, where a human agent is able to engage farmers with this high definition video content, providing advisory information and earning their trust. That's how we are leaving no one behind. And then we realized, yes, we can have technology, but end of the day, what is important is not whether the technology works online or offline, but what is the bottom line. So this is where we actually realized that the gap is the missing human agent at the last mile. So while everyone is working with agents, but nobody's building really the human capacity. So we put up our hand and then said the best way is let's create this human interface. While you can see across productivity, across supply chain, finance, and also the environmental climate impact, there are so many digital and point solutions and the traditional solutions. But what is important is how do you land them? That's where this layer of agripreneurs, we call them agriculture entrepreneurs or agripreneurs. Majority of them are youth and half of them are women. They are equipped with these digital technologies which are designed to work across the mediums. Either you have mobile apps where you can afford internet, you can do it, or you can actually have these portable solutions which are designed to work without any of these even mobile signals available or a multi-platform approach. So for this, what do we do? First thing is we get the youth ready. Ready is rural entrepreneur development incubators. We have a very thorough process of selecting them, personality profiling them, incubating them, and getting this youth ready to become agriculture entrepreneurs. They learn with a mentor, they learn from their peers, connect with a set of service providers and also the farmers, and then they grow. Initially, we thought it's a linear process, but then we realized this is a continuous process and we got to be at it. So each of these agripreneurs serves about 200 farmers and they have to be necessary from their local communities. They are equipped with the digital toolkits. That's how they get access to the knowledge and access to the networks. And the third thing that happens is now they are able to serve them and establish the trust. And how do they do it? By engaging farmers in groups of about 20 each approximately. Using this high definition video content, we're doing this in 10 local languages and engage them on demand. We don't know. We think the farmer is a dairy farmer, but the dairy farmer is also growing maize on the side. So irrespective of what crop, what livestock, what product they are doing, the agripreneur is empowered to be able to engage them in the context of the situation, and in the process they earn trust. And as a practice, we don't charge the farmer. And majority of our farmers are low income farmers earning $2 to $3 per day. So how do we get this flywheel in motion? Now, one, we started by creating agripreneurs, by getting them ready so that they start engaging in the farmers and giving the extension and also the advisory and earning the trust. And as part of this, as they're doing this, they are also generating a lot of demand for the respective products and services. This is where we are crowding in ecosystem partners who are in inputs, who are providing credit, who are off-takers, logistics, and most importantly, other fellow digital solutions and traditional solutions. And government is extremely important for us as a key stakeholder in this operation. So that's how we are moving the products and services and also ensuring that the money is flowing back and forth. How do they sustain? The entrepreneurs sustain by the commissions they earn by offering these products and services. So we work with governments. We're currently working with 30 plus local governments. Thanks to the 1 million farmer platform in Kenya, we are working with the Kenya Climate Smart and the NARI program. We are in 27 counties with this program and with the multinationals and corporations. Forward-looking companies who are looking at this as a extremely important layer for them and also the development agencies. Now, the ecosystem is evolving and growing exponentially, as you can see from this live data diagram. Each of this green bubble there is a county, and the purple one is a service provider, and the orange ones are our entrepreneurs. Now, this is the Kenya data map, and this is how the network is growing. And to just give you an idea, recently, World Bank and AgriFin Accelerator with 60 Decibel have done an independent evaluation. And 95% of the farmers have reported improved quality of life. And 66% said their way of farming has improved. 63% say they don't have any alternative to something like what Kuza is offering. 67% reported increased production. And most importantly, 90% plus farmers increased their household savings and 80% decreased their household debt. While the net promoter score of 40 plus, especially by the women farmers, is high and also beyond the industry benchmark, we said this is just a beginning and the tip of the iceberg. Currently, we have 5,000 plus agripreneurs across 6 countries, 5 in Africa and South Asia, India, serving over 750,000 plus farmers. This has been our growth curve. During the COVID time is when we have actually demonstrated, and that was a good acid test for us to showcase that this thing works. over $25 million plus of marketplace GMV is happening. We don't even take that into our books because that's a transaction that's happening in the network with 100 plus value chain partners. So what are our revenue streams? We actually offer the incubation services at a fee. Our customers are usually, as I said, governments, multilaterals, NGOs, or corporates. Or the digital kits specially designed are available, and they can be, offered as a bundle package or independently, subscription fee, marketplace commissions, and overall digitization. At the workplace, we have our leadership experience is over 150 plus person years, 60% plus women in the management leadership positions. And Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, Mozambique, and India are the markets where we have validated this model. We wouldn't say we have solved all the problems, but definitely we're in the right direction because our core values are agility, accountability, and transparency. And that's how we have come this far. Just to give a representation on the Kenya, so we are in 42 counties in Kenya. We were in 3 pre-COVID. This is a true testimony, and thanks to the partnership with the World Bank that we managed to earn the trust of the counties. And almost all the counties are asking for the youth agripreneurs as the go-to model. And as much as we are creating agripreneurs, we thought it's a very generic thing, but we realized that the super specialization is coming in. Like some of them are becoming specialized only in advisory services. Some of them are opening shops, input shops, mechanization services. There are different archetypes that are evolving, and we are learning, sharing, and collaborating with others to learn, connect, and grow. And that's the philosophy of Tuza. Thank you so much. Here are my contacts, and happy to take the conversation offline.
Thank you very much, Ree, for a fascinating presentation. And before we move to the Q&A session, I want to announce to please save the date for the next webinar series, which is booked to be on March 23rd. And I'm sure our colleagues will be sharing the information, but we know that it's happening. So write it down so you can be all part of it. So I know that some of the presenters have been already answering the questions in the chat box. So I would like to share some of the questions with you. We have one question for William here. It says, once the farmer buys products using the app, how is the product physically transferred to the farmer? Are you working with any farmer producer organization? How can apps like yours be used to enhance the capacity of the farmers? Maybe I will just pose the second question that was addressed to you, William, which is if you can share with us the 3 major constraints you have faced leverage your business model. Over to you.
Sure. Thanks, Julia. Maybe if I answer the first question, is that how does the product reach the farmer? So there are 2 ways. We have 2 types of customers. The farmers who have access to smartphones, they order and we deliver directly. So it's the direct B2C model. So what happens is that we have logistics partners, we have warehouses spread out across the country to make sure that these products are able to reach our customers at the right time. Now, the other farmers who don't have access to smartphones, that's why we are using agrovets. That's why we have the network of agrovets. So what happens is that the agrovets order for these products. Then first we deliver them to the agrovets. Then the agrovets, they deliver them to the farmers, or the farmers come and pick them up from the agrovets. So in that way, still we use our third-party logistics partners in form of logistics and in form of storage to make sure that these products reach the last mile. Then the other question was the kind of challenges the kind of enablers which will require for us to grow in our business model. I believe one of them is about the critical assets for this particular business model. That is logistics and that is storage. We can't ignore that because this is Africa. It's inevitable for you to make sure that you have either very interesting 3PLs or you have some of these assets on your balance sheet like the way we do. So for us, we run hybrid model where we have some trucks on our balance sheet, and also we have some storage facilities on our balance sheet. But these are not enough to just make sure that we're able to reach out the rest of the community in Uganda, under Kenya and Tanzania. That means that we need more of these particular assets to be deployed. The second one is digital infrastructure. Of course, you can't run away from that by the fact that it's a digital business. You're talking about access by digital infrastructure, I mean access to phones, network, digital literacy, all that. So that also sucks a little bit of our customer acquisition cost, especially for the aggregates, to make sure that they access smartphones, to make sure that they access this kind of content, to make sure that they're able to use the application properly. So if at all you are to looking at the scalability of that kind of business model, those will be the key major levers, in addition to other things like working capital and the rest of the things which move the business. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, William. I think it does. If you allow me to move to the next question, is for Dr. Aurora, and it says, "Thank you for an excellent presentation. Does a monthly subscription cover a single farmer's crops, or is it for a specific number of crops? As a farmer might have several crops on his farm, and what is the retention rate of a farmer to use the service?" Over.
I think our business development head, Clifton, has already answered, but I'll ask him to explain more about this. Over to you, Clifton.
Hello. Hello, can you guys hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
So to answer the question, the subscription is based on the land size. So, and of course, depends on crops. There might be different varieties of sensors that are required. Not all crops share the same amount of metrics and sensors that are required to reduce pest control and the fertilizer usage and water consumption usage. So, but the subscription is basically based on the size of land that is required. And in relation to retention, we just completed our Malaysian project related to pineapple, which Dr. Aurora has shared with everyone. And so we're now expanding on the national level. We don't have retention information as of yet, but the project that we've completed is still ongoing with the Malaysian government. So, and they've been very happy with the results. And I think like Dr. Aurora has shared that the results have been pretty dramatic so far.
Thank you very much for addressing this question. Now we'll move to the next one, which is addressed for Anita. And the question is, what are the major constraints to adoption of farmer products by farmers in your experience? Over.
Okay, thank you, Julia, for the question. I have a couple of colleagues on the call who would like to take this up, so I'll hand over to them. Hello, Mimi.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
We can.
Awesome. Can you kindly repeat the question again?
Of course. The question is, what are the major constraints you are facing for farmers to adopt the products that you are offering?
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for the question. I wouldn't say we have seen that many challenges in terms of adoption to products per se, because the products that we provide are agro inputs, and these are resources the farmers need. However, when it comes to adoption of new practices, we see that it's not all the way 100%. We track some of the adoption rates. For instance, when we send audio messages to farmers, we're able to track to what extent farmers listen to the messages. Is it 100%? And then we follow through with through our call center infrastructure to take their feedback. So we're able to determine how are they applying these new practices on the farms, for instance, and then we're able to track their ratings. And over the period since we launched our 399 service that Anita pitched during this call, we have noticed that there are still some challenges when it comes to adoption of new practices. Some farmers are still holding on to their indigenous farming practices. Obviously, behavior change takes time. So we are not relenting at all. We are still trying to, as much as possible, change behaviors into adopting climate smart practices, and this takes time. So perhaps that's the response I can say. In terms of products per se, physical products, we haven't had any challenges to adoption. But when it comes to digital services, we are seeing a gradual increase in adoption rates. Thank you.
Thank you very much for addressing the question. I am aware of the time, and I know you have to move on to other things. And thank you, Sri, for addressing the questions on uptake that you have already addressed on the chat. So to close the Q&A session, I would like to share two questions that have been posted for Pius. The first one is, have you observed instances where farmers borrow funds and fail to make enough money to make a profit after repaying or not repaying the loans taken? And roughly, what's the percentage of how prevalent this observation is? And the other question is, please briefly explain how you compute credit scores for annual crops subject to rotation as opposed to perennial crops. And after Pius' intervention, I will pass it over to our colleague Alexandra Puwacheski for some closing remarks. Over.
Okay, thank you, Julia. I think the first question is that is on somebody not making enough money to repay the loan. And on our credit score, we look at different parameters. We look at your history. We look at your produce, and then we look at the farm level data. So in any case, in all of them, our PR has been 2%. So which means we have never had a scenario whereby our credit score can give you something which you will not make money. The other question is on if somebody on the crop rotation, and how do you do the credit score on that? So basically, our credit score, as I say, it is based on three key items. That is the history, how you have been doing the history, how you have been, what you have in your farm, and specifically also what do you produce. So if your produce is as low as maybe $1, okay, specifically you are already 33% down. So the way you compute it is based on specifically what you have, and we don't look at the presumption that you will get this at the end of the year. We look at specifically the reality on your farm, and we broaden the base of that loan to be given to that farmer. There was also another question on that is favoring large farmers. No, it doesn't. You can be a large farmer, but you are a very bad history person. So which means your credit score will just be, instead of 3% for that, it will just be 0% of that. So you will still just lie on where you are supposed to do. So we do the credit check, and then we do the reality check. Thank you.
Thank you, Pius. Thank you for addressing these questions. And please, if you feel like we haven't completely addressed your questions, give us a flag on the chat, and we will do our best to follow up after the webinar is over. And also the presenters have shared their contact information, and we hope and we expect that you also reach out to them. So thank you for sticking with us until the end. And now for some closing remarks, I would like to give the microphone to our colleague Alexandra Puwacheski, also Sasha for short. And we are here also to thank for her constant support, because she's the Korean World Bank Partnership Facility Manager, also known as the KWPF. And it's thanks to the generous supports that we've been able to bring these presenters also and manage the pitches at the summit. So very grateful for your continuous support. Sasha joined the bank over 20 years ago, and she worked in operations and cover Francophone and Anglophone Africa, also work in Central Asia and in Yemen. And before joining the DFI team in August 22, she worked in MENA for over 10 years as a country program coordinator for the Gulf Cooperation Council countries. So with all further ado, Sasha, please, the microphone is yours. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. So it's such a pleasure, such a privilege to listen to this event today. And I am just really impressed. And I'd like to congratulate the 5 finalist innovators who were sharing their experience today of the recently held Africa-Korea Agtech Innovation Challenge. And it's very interesting for me. I'm not an ag specialist, as you can tell, but to learn about the experience, the innovation, the scale and replicability and impact of the DATs. And our KWPF team, the Korea World Bank Partnership Facility that funded this wonderful experience, is absolutely thrilled to see these outcomes, because we are all about innovation, sharing Korea's success with other countries, and also about taking it further. So making sure that the experiences in different sectors, agriculture is one of them, but we also in KWPF, we fund activities in education and health and transport all across different sectors. But we want to make sure these technologies are adopted and that there is sustainability. And what your experience with the Ag Challenge, Innovation Challenge, it's absolutely clear that this is a sustainable community of practice that has been created. And that's wonderful to see, because we hope that these relationships continue to last. We are also thrilled to see the growth of the 1 Million Farmers platform and the growth of the DATs across the region. And the fact that these experiences have informed banks lending also helps with sustainability and with making these projects more relevant for the countries. And I am really impressed that there has been 70 webinars in the series that were created. The name of the webinar series, What's Cooking? So that's a really cute name. And that 10,000 participants have participated. So kudos to the team and the participants, and that's very impressive numbers. And the fact that there is the global flagship e-learning course that was created on transforming agriculture and food systems through data-driven digital agriculture, learning from practitioners, is also, I find that particularly impressive, because it gives access to a lot of people. The fact that it's an e-learning course is also helpful, because you can bring people from different countries. And that's a 4-week course where interactions were done directly with AgTech company CEOs. So that's access to a lot of knowledge, which is very helpful. Also with program managers from the World Bank and government leadership. So 1,500 participants enrolled in this course. Also a lot of numbers, that's great impact. So the momentum created by this Africa-Korea Agtech Innovation Challenge is something that shifts the space and the learning and technology. And we hope that the next step will be taking it to a regional level. So currently we have participants from Kenya, Uganda, Ghana, and Nigeria, among others, but hopefully this will go to an even larger regional level in Africa. And again, I'd like to thank all the participants. I'd like to thank the organizing task team from the World Bank that's done a tremendous job pulling all this together, and also competing for the KWPF funds to begin with, because it's a very competitive grant. So, our facility is focused on larger impact and on innovation, sharing Korea's knowledge and experience, and it's very difficult to get our funding. So kudos to the World Bank team that competed, got the funds, and put together such an impressive program. So congratulations and thank you.
Thank you very much, Shasha, and thank you to all the discussants, all the participants, to all the people that connected. We had now we are about 92 participants, but at one point we reached 105. So congratulations to all of you, again, to the finalists and the runner-ups. And thank you for staying with us through the different presentations. And then one final announcement that I already share with you. The next webinar in this series is scheduled for March 23rd, Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern time, and it will be on data in climate resilience agriculture, combining data for policy, positive deviance, and community engagement. So with that, nothing else but to thank you again and wish you a great rest of your day. See you next time. Thank you, everyone.